If that's the way you like it, okay. It's a little perverse, but I'll try anything, as long as I get back to the club in time. But as they say, suffering is good for pleasure. You never know what to expect. You don't have to do all this, you know. I wasn't planning on running away. I said I was game for anything. If my girlfriends could only see me now, but they wouldn't believe it when I tell them. You know, I still don't know what you look like. Why don't you take off your mask? Where are you? Hey, don't leave me here all by myself.
To another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! You are not advertiser friendly. No, sir, we are not. Episode number 15. Oh my goodness. We are just right there. Right at that halfway point, basically. I mean, yes, a little less than halfway, but still, like, virtually there. And my goodness, we still have quite a bit of wonderfulness to behold. And tonight, coming off of last night's insanity that was Bloody Moon, I thought, you know what? I have not watched enough Jess Franco movies. And so I thought I would review another movie that was suggested, so I'm fulfilling yet another request. That's right, request those films, and I will do my damnedest to find them and watch them, no matter how weird they are. And so this movie is called A Virgin Among the Living Dead. However, this movie is less the Jess Franco film, as in it's mostly a Jess Franco film, but with a bunch of added scenes by Jean Rollin, I think is the name. Jean Rollin, I don't know. Anyways, and basically this was filmed in the 70s. However, for its release in 1981, they got this person to add a whole bunch of new scenes with zombies in them, and retitled it A Virgin Among the Living Dead. And then it was released in America under the title Zombie 4, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the zombie series. But I've talked about that before. Yeah, I think the American zombie series goes up to 10. They're all like totally unrelated movies. But anyways, so basically, this movie is sort of like a patchwork of Frankenstein, if you will. In fact, there was a version of this movie that was released in a couple of European countries under the name of Christina, Princess of Eroticism, where they added like hardcore porn scenes in it. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you are, none of those scenes exist in this cut of the movie. So what is this movie about? So, well, it's about a beautiful lady named Christina who is called back to her father's castle, mansion, whatever you call, after his death for the reading of his will. So on her way there, the locals are stunned in disbelief that she would actually be going to that area because no one lives there. And she's like, well, no, you're crazy. My family lives there. Anyways, they all suggest that she don't have anything to do with that place, and that place is a place of death. It's the Valley of Death in a way. So as she goes and makes her travels, she does notice there's a difference. The plants, the colors, they're not as brisk. The birds are more vultures and predators, and the air smells different. It feels different. Anyways, she gets to the house and she meets her family, and they are a bunch of strange beings. And honestly, she starts to have weird dream nightmares and strange occurrences, as well as witnessing the strange proclivities of the residents of this place, including this interesting scene with the scissors and blood drinking and full frontal nudity. But anyways, what happens is it's a feverishly weird, almost delusion of a dream of a movie where she is on the edge of life and death, and that she's got to somehow avoid the beck and call of the mistress of the night to take her away to the afterlife. And it is definitely a strange movie. And the thing is, I can understand how people would be upset that they would get like a movie called Zombie 4 and then pop it in their VCR and then watch this and go, what the fuck does this have to do with zombies? In fact, I don't know how much of a horror movie you could consider this, more as like a dark fantasy. I mean, there is definitely dark themes, and it's the themes of death and struggle and decay and loss and mourning and maybe holding on to regret and remorse, I guess, in a way. There's all these elements of that, but this movie is so hard to review because it's so weird. It's dreamy, and it has a grand beauty within it, and it's so just the flow is so just like floating in the air. You feel like you're just no longer part of any kind of reality. Now, sure, the scenes get a bit disjointed. Apparently that's sort of like Franco's style. But it like once you get kind of into the meat of the movie, it definitely flows better. But there's a scene when she's like skinny dipping in the river, and these two guys are like watching her, and this other guy, shoos them away. It just felt really weird and out of place, and didn't really fit well. But overall, the movie definitely has like this airy lightness to it, and I don't mean light as in brightness. I'm talking about lightness as in like it's not heavy. And I think it helps you to consume the subject matter, because the subject matter itself is pretty dark and heavy. So anyways, let's get to those scores. Violence and Gore, I'm giving this a 1 out of 5, and that is a generous 1 out of 5. I mean, there's a severed hand, and there's, some off-screen stabbing and a guy who's hung himself, but really nothing much there violence-wise. But then again, this movie isn't necessarily about like physical violence. It's more of a emotional, psychological violence, I guess. Anyways, but 1 out of 5. Shock value, I'm also giving it a 1 out of 5. Look, there's not going to be jump scares. The shocking thing is the weirdness of some of these people and their like ritualistic things going on within the house. And I mean, you got this guy talking to a chicken head, but he doesn't really talk well. It's just so strange and out there. So 1 out of 5. Plot, 2 out of 5. I mean, it starts out with a actual storyline. This lady, her father died. She's going to the will reading, and then it's just whatever. It's the people of the house apparently are the zombies, I guess, and that they're trying to bring her into the fold in such a way, and they do that by just being weird and tempting her to drink the blood of a naked lady, and I mean, just it's so odd. It's so odd that I can't even begin to really. I mean, it's definitely metaphoric and layered in such a way. But because you're just, you start off with like this concept and your mind really wants to have like a story and things to make sense with, but it just sort of just unravels. I mean, like a dream, like a nightmare, it goes from here to here without really making any sense. And so, I mean, in that case, it does a good job, but like you're looking for some substance and plot, like an actual narrative going through it, a little bit tough. Anyway, so 2 out of 5. I mean, I'm not sophisticated at all, so I'm like, phew, okay, sure. So, anyways, acting, I'm also giving it a 2 out of 5. Once again, it's the horrible voiceover English that really is the problem here. Honestly, everything else, they seem to be fine and decent. I don't know if, like, on purpose, the people are supposed to be like this. This one lady, she's like the aunt, and she just has, like, this stone expression on her face the whole time, no matter what's happening. There's a scene where they got a severed hand and they're pulling, like the jewelry off, and she's supposed to be like gleefully like, now we've got the jewels to ourselves, but it's still that stone and cold, expressionless, weird face. I mean, I don't know. It just, I just can't. This movie, weird. It's just, so I don't know. 2 out of 5. Nudity. This is a 5 out of 5. There is a whole lot of nakedness going on. A whole lot of Christina's tits, a whole lot of her ass, a whole lot of her hairy vagina. I mean, like, you don't see, like, I'm just the jungle down there. Anyways, and others, but yeah, it's a whole lot of nakedness, and yeah, and some subtle and maybe some not so subtle eroticism thrown in there. So anyways, 5 out of 5. So my enjoyment factor is a 3.5 out of 5. Honestly, I thought at a moment toward the beginning that I was just going to get bored with this movie, because all of a sudden I kind of realized what the tone of this film was going to be. And yet I was mesmerized. It was definitely a journey into a dream, between reality and death. And, even though the dialogue was weird and strange and a lot of it didn't make too much sense, I kind of dug what was going on. She got lost in this realm between life and death, and she's being pulled into that direction of death, and she's being warned. She's been warned so many times. No, go away, escape, get out of here, try to get away. And yet she continuously finds herself not doing that and gets deeper and deeper, hearing the call of her dead father. And, there is this great dialogue where he's like going, it's not my voice, but it is death who is calling with it. Or, I mean, it is his voice, but it's death who is the one that is calling. So, anyways, yeah, it's avant-garde, it's artsy in a way, but it's still just mesmerizing. And plus, my goodness, the nudity. I feel like she's got a rockin' body, and so does the blind girl who's like, I'm gonna try to save you, but I don't think I can. Yeah, well, yeah, you really have to be maybe put forward an actual reason for the person to leave, as opposed to being all cryptic and shit, but whatever. Anyways, so yeah, so there's that also. But I mean, honestly, it's a beautiful film, and it's sad, and it feels like loss and remorse and regret throughout this movie. I mean, the father, you know, you can see the failure in his face toward the end. Anyways, it's definitely an experience that I can understand is not for everyone, and that a lot of people may just be like, there's not enough action, not enough violence, and that this might not be a true horror film. So yeah, it might be more of a dark fantasy. But I mean, you think about it, you know, walking into death is a pretty horrifying idea, anyways. But anyways, so 3.5 out of 5, and my overall impression is a 3 out of 5. Honestly, it is such an experience, and you can feel the love and craft in a lot of the scenes that you can kind of tell, you know, the scenes that were touched by Franco, and the scenes that were Rollin, and you can tell the love that was in the movie, and the emotion and the expression, and so it definitely rises above the confusion and the chaos. I mean, not really the chaos, but just the weirdness, and is actually kind of touching in ways. And I found it to be enjoyable, and I thought that it was definitely one of those movies where I think you either really, really like it, or it's just horrible. And I ended up pretty liking it. I mean, there's some ridiculousness, but overall, I mean, I actually thought it was pretty good. So 3 out of 5, and that averages out to 2.5 out of 5. Yes, you get dinged for not having a lot of violence and shock, but anyways, so that was A Virgin Among the Living Dead. Did you see the movie? What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you think it was beautiful, fever dream, nightmare? Or was it this boring, lifeless waste of time with no action or zombies or anything of merit? I don't know. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Give me the thumbs up. Give me subscriptions, whatever. And I will see you guys next time. Yes, and remember, internet, stay sexy, stay scary, and don't follow the call. Don't. It only leads to the deep, dark abyss of night.